carry you away. Overnight high is going to be up in this range right there. Stream is up. Let's see if the stream is going. There we go. See if everything's working out.
Do you like it with the straw?
I am.
Without straw.
Without fine. Thank you. See if that's working. Looks like it's going. All right, we are live. Good morning, everybody. Hopefully, everybody had a good day yesterday. If you traded this morning, hopefully you're up a little bit, like I am. I did take one trade on that jobless number. I took this pop here. I wanted to see if it would rock and rally through my 172 level. I took the long from there, and then ended up trailing out like in this range right here, just below 88. So took a quick 130 to get myself on the board in the positive, start the day off right. Let's see if we can get today rolling. Gonna look to watch our levels here. Let me just make sure I'm popping in all the pertinent information into the streams here so we can shuffle everybody over to TradeCaster from YouTube. I will take a screenshot of my levels here. Previous day high is kind of close to here. We tightened up from yesterday. I still think 277's in the cards if we do pop up higher. If we do get a continuation today. If we do not, then we're going to be watching that 172 level down here to see if it'll fail down into the overnight lows, into previous day lows, and into 18,027. So these two purple zones above and below, and then right dead center in the middle are pretty important as far as targets are concerned. And then obviously the 72 level as a area of interest. We want to see this overnight high get tagged again. We did not get it yesterday on the low, and we were looking to see if we can rotate off that low. Right, that was our idea. Opening range break to the high side off the low. We never quite made it to that overnight low, so I never got myself to a point where I wanted to get triggered in, and it just ran away from us. You know, hindsight being 2020, could have realistically used this level here as consolidation breakout high, rotated it through, but we did not do that. So just kind of keeping that in mind for some trades up here. We do have the previous day high, like I said, kind of close. I would not be surprised if the break above happens and continues on upside to that previous day high. If previous day highs get tagged, the next previous day high was just shy of that 77 level as well, up here around 266. So 266, if you do break this previous high, could be that next area of resistance prior to running into 277. All right. Not saying that we'll stop here at 277. I just think 277 is like the upside overhead resistance. Could run through it, but that's that next area of interest for me. We're going black sweatshirt clubs today. I want you guys to be smart about your trading. We are, like I said, not quite into that overnight high level, not quite into that previous day high. Overnight lows attainable here, so potentially could clean up some of that pre-market level. I did overnight take a combine trade here on this one. I made 484, shorted below this level down into here. On the break of this, I ended up taking profits here because I wanted to go to bed. I ended up, it was like probably at midnight I took profits. I realistically could have just left a take profit somewhere, but I'm just, you know, I got to get into that rhythm of trying to trade some overnight stuff. So we are up a little bit today from that jobless claim number. Jobless claims came in hotter than anticipated, so we got a bit of a pop here in anticipation. Really what it kind of anticipates is that if the labor market weakens a little, then rate cuts may be needed because we're getting something of that nature, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'll probably play some tunes in the background for myself. A little Frankie Sinatra, possibly. No, let's go with hip-hop lo-fi. A little hip-hop lo-fi. Get myself chill. All right. We are now open. Let's see if we can pop into that overnight high. See if we can fail it a little bit. The 200 level is pretty important. 72 right below. We do have this area of support, 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 support. If we tuck down into here, I wouldn't hate taking along through this purple zone up to the highs, but I'm just going to be mindful of it, right? NVIDIA is just sitting around there. Microsoft ticking up, still below 412. Like, everything is still in similar areas from yesterday. Not a ton of things going on currently. Pushing up towards that overnight high, looking pretty good, but it is a stronger move to the high side, right? Gonna watch the delta, see if I can get some sort of rejection, an opening range breakdown, something like that would be nice as well. So all in all, just out here doing our best to find a good trade opportunity at a good trade location. This song is depressing. Not happening. Give me something else. Let's see what this is. That works. Right now, not a ton of like the first candle had pretty decent volume on it, but not a ton of like real upside pressure on that candle. Really, like I said, not making it to that overnight high. We're getting through this little wedge here. I would be interested right down into this area, act as support down here at 160, 163, and then rotate back through 172 for my a long idea up to the overnight highs. However, I don't know if that'll be in play or not. We have Microsoft just sitting flat right here. Opened, went higher, came back lower, and now it's just sitting at 410.50. It just popped a little bit. NVIDIA's popping a little bit to the high side, pushing up towards 910. Let's see if Apple's doing anything. If NVIDIA's pushing up, Apple tends to go down, and it is. So they are negatively correlated today. And so that could mean that the markets are connected to the NVIDIA trade. Still, let's make sure we kind of be cautious around this overnight high. Could crack the overnight high right to the previous day high without a lot of issues either, right? That break yesterday kind of acted pretty strong and went straight up to that previous day high. There was not a ton of resistance in there, so just be mindful of that. We are looking at Delta popping a little bit upside here. Opening range is not too wide. It's about 87 ticks. We are pushing down through the low of that opening range. S&P's kind of even right now. And the Russell trying to break down from 2065. So now we're breaking down through 75. Nice little opening range breakdown of that trend line there. We're going to see what happens at 72. If it flushes 72 and gets down into this 60, I would look for a rotation back through the 72 level to go to the highs. This would be a really strong area of support from that overnight session. And that would just be like a wick test of that 72, and then a break above it kind of gives me that confidence of a long on that side. NVIDIA wicked up into 910 and then failed it, and now is below 906. So that's another thing to keep an eye out on. Microsoft ticking down as well. As I mentioned, you can see on the top, I am up slightly at 130 from the pre-market session. I took one trade off of the break of 172 on the employment numbers, the jobless claim numbers, I should say. The jobless came in at 231 as opposed to 211. Continuing jobless is 1785 as expected, and 215 on the jobless 4-week average ticked up as well. So everything kind of ticked up except for the continuing. Obviously, just they knew what the continuing was going to be, so they could just match that. Good morning, Jofi. How you doing today? How you doing? Really, I'm looking for a flush down into that 160 level here, that initial pop from that jobless number. Hit off on this support, fail this support, maybe give you a false breakdown, and then a rotate back through 172. Hell yeah, good job, Joe. Yeah, I actually decided to come in because of our conversation yesterday. Normally, I don't get up and get on the computer until after, like right around market open, but I said we got the jobless numbers. We've been getting good reaction off the price at 7:30 a.m. Central Time over here, 8:30 Eastern. So I figured why not hop on, grab a couple bucks, and then we'll start our day off right in the momentum. Really looking for something to tell me a direction. Yesterday's price action, the day before, I mean, this whole week, I decided to draw myself down. So this is going to be a nice little day of rebound, not try to make everything back, but try and just end the day green, start on a good green streak moving into Friday and into the weekend. So that's what the goal is, and then start building this XFIC buffer back up. Technically, I only need one more $200 winning day for a payout request, but I am not going to probably pay out unless I hit off on a pretty big winner because of the buffer now. I just want to make sure that buffer gets back towards that $2,000 mark before I'm taking money out, right? Because I want to have the bullets in the gun for that next trade, the next trade. Okay, so now we're ticking down right into that area that I was interested in, right? That 160. We're going to kind of clean up, maybe wick off this bottom here. If you do flush it and rotate down through that, that makes a lot of sense. But I do want to try and take the long through that 172, 175 level here. You can see there's a bounce break. I think that 172 is a lower volume area, but you do have a heavy delta here. So I'm going to wait for a secondary push on the delta. If you get a rejection here once, I would like to get another push on the delta to the downside and a higher low in delta, with price kind of holding down here just for a few, not too long. It doesn't have to hold, the whole time, but just one quick bounce doesn't do it for me. I took this long here. That was where I took that breakout from this morning. We are failing that 172 level. NVIDIA pushing down towards 900. Microsoft pushing down to 409.86. Two important levels. We'll see if Microsoft wants to even clean up the pre-market levels, which is down into 409 even. So that's another reason for this to kind of push down even probably a little bit more. We are getting a little tweezer top bottoms. Tilt is just 50-50. We're looking at Delta now trying to just linger around that same area where it's at, that zero line. Price still holding below VWAP. It's pretty heavy. That opening range breakdown could lead to some trending to the downside. So if you do break and hold VWAP, I'm going to wait till we get to that overnight low before we could even make any more decisions to do anything, right? That's that next area if we do crack this trend line support area. I like this as a area of support. I will buy up over 75. Give it enough breathing room here to kind of give me that idea where that long could come in and hold. Because 72 is too close. I think it could wick 72 and come back down. Got a decent buying side pressure from that delta. So I am going to get long if it does get over the body of this candle here. This previous candle, that breakdown point, right? I think 72, if it wicks like it just did and rotates down, there's a good chance that you get flushed out. We're trying to time this correctly. We're not trying to get in, dance around, bounce around, jump up. I want to pop up and kind of run right to that overnight high pretty quickly if I can get this to play along some to the long side. But it's got to hold. Maybe give me one more flush push down. You can see Delta not pushing down as hard as price is, right? Price trying to push down, Delta holding up a little bit. If we wick the low and Delta still holds, that's a good sign for this long idea to go through that 175 even level. So you can see Delta now trying to get heavy. So price might get heavy through here. Good reason why it could possibly follow through this trend line. But you can see why I left my entry above the level, right? Want to be above that zone. We don't want to be in that zone because that's when you get wicked in and it rotates down on you and continues to melt your face off, right? Now we're going to try and clean up this move here. A break above 66 probably gives you follow through 75 and 72. A crack down below and a hold below 55 gives you probably a likely follow through down to overnight lows if it gives you some momentum pressure. Like I said, there was some decent pressure down there with this delta, and there you go. There's the crack in the rotation. So full rotation from value area high to value area low from the overnight session. The heavy delta gave you that indication that the breakdown probably does happen there. I'm still interested in the long above there if this is going to be a failed breakdown, right? I said a hold below 55 gets you down into the lows. That's the thought on this. Once again, we did not get up over the overnight high, so I didn't have the short idea off the jump from that. But you have the opening range breakdown in conjunction with like a rising, support line here. That breakdown to the next area of support pretty clear, and it happened pretty smoothly for you. If you would have took that breakdown from the opening range low down into this low here, you're sitting pretty at 145 ticks, right? If you just trail to maybe the VWAP and you're just waiting to see how far you could go, you're already secured about 75 ticks. So that's what you're looking at on the short side. Could be just a continuation type day, although yesterday was very tricky with continuations, right? We didn't get a lot of follow through on the moves, so just be cautious that anything that does start to break down might give you the opportunity to bounce right back up and off. So 72 wick, hold below it overnight, pop above it on the number, and now failing it here. That 72 number was my key. 172 is that key level for me. I'm going to take this off because I don't want to have it magically get filled for some reason. So I have no positions on. I did talk about how this hold of 55 probably rotates us down to the overnight low. NVIDIA already got down into 892, and Microsoft's trying to break down. I think Microsoft tries to tag the pre-market lows at 409 flat. If that happens, this probably, like I said, follows through to overnight lows and then bounces from there, because I think Microsoft will have a little bit of a bounce point, and also NVIDIA will have a bounce point here from 892 and a quarter down into 892, 890 even. So 890 to 892 and NVIDIA is that zone for a bounce. If it flushes that and continues on, then who knows how far down we can go. I would have liked to have caught that short. I talked about how that short probably comes in until you get down into this support level. We were going to look for a bounce play. We set our entry above 75 based on the way this broke down and the way we have interest in 72. At 72 is that breakdown point. And as you can see, we wicked right into 72 and then failed it and rotated right down through this support line. So we are flushing down into that overnight low. Pretty clean move. I would like to say it was an obvious move, but I didn't take it. So it wasn't that obvious. Like if it was super obvious, I would have shorted from that 85, which I could have, right down below that opening range low. If you could have shorted down below 84, down through. I mean, I talked about it, but I didn't think it was going to give that much, because last time we got into this type of price action, price decided that it wanted to give a bounce from there, and it's been pretty relatively strong comparative to a lot of the other things. So S&P's holding that 5205 level from a few days back, so be mindful of that, because that could lead to a bounce. If S&P decides to kind of rally and rip and make a high on the day, watch out for this 72 level, 72 to 75. That failure could easily rotate us through highs. This could just be a big liquidity sweep down into these lows, right? This was a pretty supportive level there, but I don't know. It's pretty heavy. I hope everybody's either executing on a short here and holding and carrying on through this trade, or just looking for that next opportunity, whatever your strategy calls for. If you missed it, don't chase it now. The worst thing you could do on a falling knife type play is try to either chase it without a setup or try to reverse on it really quick for no valid reason, right? You still have a pretty heavy delta. You could see here, delta trying to make new lows, price still trying to hold up here. Value area low has pushed into 121. I think if you crack 121, you get down into this lower band of VWAP here at 110, 112. And then pre-market lows, overnight lows, 103 is that area where I start to look for a bounce. If it bounces from here, that's cool, but you still see that the sellers are trying to come in here, trying to be heavy through this level. I'd say a break of this low probably leads you without a lot of issues down to 110, and then 110 to 103. This is the way that heaviness goes. This is how I catch $1,000 winners, because this is a move that you really wouldn't have had to have trailed out of, except for maybe this candle here possibly wicking you out. But if you stayed over 75 on your stops, then you probably were fine. I mean, really just getting down into VWAP probably stopped out. If you're looking to continue on the short down through here, overall, I mean, even if you just took it straight to VWAP, you still made yourself 350. The Dow is strong, huh? Let's see what the DOW, the YM looks like. Oh, for some reason it's options. I don't know. There we go. Futures. Oh yeah, the Dow is relatively strong compared to everything. It's been the strongest relative index over late. YM, the Russell has even let us high side a lot. Today it's beaten down. So Russell's down, S&P's is down, and the Russell and the Dow Jones is up quite a bit there. So let's see. Where's my CME futures? There we go. Could be get dragged up by the Dow. So let's watch. I want to see this overnight low get tagged. It would be nice. I mean, although we are at value area low, you could see kind of why this may act as that support, right? It was support. It got flushed. Then it held back at this level, rotated back up. So this is an interesting area for that turnaround. Although NVIDIA just flushed that 892 level right down into 890. So cracking through 890. See if that's a liquidity grab, and then a rotate right back up over 892, or if it's going to continue downside. I think Microsoft still has some pressure to go to get to 409. If we do, well, if not 409, 409.50. If we can get those pushes in those two names, then probably get to your overnight high, previous day low type area, then look for that rotation back. I would like to see, really for my idea here, is to flush overnight lows down right into that previous day low and then rotate back up through that overnight low to try and give me a long opportunity. Apple was surging right up into 83, holding over 83.20. You can see our divergence here between NVIDIA and Apple, these two names, right? Anytime money flows out of NVIDIA, it goes right into Apple, and anytime it goes into NVIDIA, it goes out into Apple, or the opposite. I didn't flip it, but whatever you see in that, whatever I just said, as far as those two are concerned, right? NVIDIA melting off to the downside. I think we can get Microsoft to push into these levels down into here, that 409.50 down into 409 is a bounce area for Microsoft. And then if you break through 409, you're flushing down to lows from yesterday with the heaviness of the NQ. The market's pretty heavy. The only thing pushing up is Apple. Amazon is rotating over. Google is rotating over. Meta rotating down. Tesla rotating down. And then you see Apple relatively strong compared to everything. So very interesting how the market takes the information from just all these other names, and then Apple's the only thing kind of buoying it. Every day, all day, out here on the Tradecaster platform, 8:30 till 11 Central Time. Really take market open to about lunch, and then I move on to the next job, and then we kind of go from there. Looking at these names closely because I want to see there. Microsoft just hit off on 50. 409.50 down into 409 even is that bottom for Microsoft. If 409 even can break and hold, then I think you got down into yesterday's lows, which is 406.73. Microsoft pushing like that. If NVIDIA continues to sell, 877 down there for NVIDIA for the next level of support for a bounce area could give us that heaviness. Apple kind of holding us up here. The way all those other names are heavy, Plus that Dow Jones acting very interesting. YM, you can see that YM just straight upside. Divergence, 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 right into a level though. So be cautious if you are playing breaks on the Dow. That high is right there at 39.26. I like the Dow, but I like to see the correlation between the S&Ps and the NQs because they're directly correlated. There's some bigger buyers coming in on the time and sales. The dome is speeding up a little bit. I don't know if we're getting a divergence at all. We got a decent buyer right off that value area low, right? I said that value area low. It actually creeped down. It created a new value area low. So now that's what we're going to be eyeballing. I said if we broke what was it, up here down into 103, 110, down into 103 was that area of interest, right? So 110 tagged off on 110. Now we're getting some, you can see prices speeding up. You got volume on the tape. Start reading the tape, see what you got going on here. This is very interesting as far as price action is concerned. There's a lot of interesting information here. You got the Russell's trying to creep back up over 2065. With the Russell trying to creep back up over that, I think we could potentially look to see what happens around 10. This is a very wide 15-minute range here, right? From here to 45. That's the opening range for a lot of people use 15 minutes. I use a 1 minute. You can see opening range breakdown here, but then that 15-minute where people wait to see what kind of price action they get. The bottom end of that could hold. We just flip point of control now down to the lows, so possibly look to rotate it back up high side. Never got to my overnight low, got close, but nothing that I could take as far as the level is concerned for an entry, right? I'm going to wait and see. The only other entry I still see is a long over 72, playing strength through 72, right? Play it through 75 technically, right? If I can get up through here, stop by through that level, and try and rotate to overnight highs, cleaning up all of this, and then kind of just using this bottom as a bottom of the day. I really want to see a flush of this overnight low, so that'd be really great. So I can catch a long from here and then see if I can get relative strength through that 172 level up to overnight highs. Rotate full rotation, overnight low to overnight high. If it's a fast move, then I can trail it quickly. If it's something like this, where we kind of start to grind up, I would like to kind of go candle by candle and try and work my way up to VWAP and then use VWAP as my stop to try and allow that to get through 75. That's really what I'm looking at. So if that's kind of aligns with your plans, go for it. Gonna let this thing cancel that, but that's really where I want to have my order. When it gets closer to it and starts to give me some price action, I will allow it to do its thing. Yeah, I didn't get any short either there, Joe V. I would have loved to have, but it just never got to my overnight high. The last two trading sessions, I wanted a long off the overnight low on the open yesterday, and it never quite made it down far enough. And then today I wanted a short from the overnight high, and we never got that either. So, I mean, the push up could have told me to get short through this level here on that next break, right? But I never got into it. And then also, I mean, if I would have taken that 84 to 94, probably would have got stopped out if I didn't wait for that actual break and hold for that low, because this would have been nicer. Even though that kind of came back in on you, you do get that full flush, right? I seem to be a bit overexposed, so let me see if I can clean this off a little bit. Oh, that's not it. You're long at 36. Let's see if it plays. I like the long because S&P's is over VWAP. NVIDIA, Microsoft held the 409 level pretty good and is now trying to rotate back up. So you have a lot of confluence there in the equities trying to push to the upside as well as that YM that just was cracking through highs, right? So you do have that YM that was breaking through the highs, and then now S&P is accepting back into opening range, Russell back in the opening range. I think that 36 long does sound good. I think you got room at, up to VWAP up to 72, and then watch a break of 75 because I will be buying through 75 for a long continuation through that overnight high and beyond, hopefully. Let me see if this window will close a little bit. I think that's a little bit better. I was a little too bright. I didn't have that good brightness level for my stream there. If you're on YouTube, hit the like button. Come on over to Tradecaster. It's a great spot for traders. Made for traders, by traders. Jofi, I think you're not in any sort of trouble yet. I think 36 is still fair. I don't know. Where do you have your stop? Lows, or are you going to go tight? Gotcha. I liked the long after that 110 tag. 110 back up over 120. Obviously, it looks good now, but I mean, realistically, I was kind of talking through that. I wanted to see the flush down into our overnight low, that 103.50 level. Just didn't quite get there. That 110 acted too strong for me as far as the volume nodes and all that, and just kind of this VWAP line here. I kind of figured that VWAP is going to act as support. If your 136 level does break, then possibly get down through VWAP, maybe make a higher low here at 115, and then rotate higher. But it could just go straight through and straight to the upside. So this little V-bottom idea, if S&P gets pushing up into that overnight high, I want to see my idea play out here, building strength through, and then a pop through 175, right, to kind of cancel out this. And then this is where I got long from that that trade this morning. Once really 366 too. 166 seems like a good area as well for that to start breaking and running out. 165, 166. Still, you're up 10 points on it, Jofi. Nice. I like it. I think up to 160, 166 gives you a good target. Maybe 163.50, 162.50. That's where you start to see a little chop. And I think if you get up over here, up over 50, you might get a pop up into that 160. And then maybe get a little bit chop around that VWAP, but you're still safe up here, up 10 points. Just I don't know your trailing strategy. I don't know where you're at with how you're trying to go with it. You are, up on the morning. You're already up on the day. You're already at break even. So anything that comes back below you at 36, I mean, that would probably indicate some sort of pullback or a failure on this move to the high side anyway. Microsoft did exactly what I was talking about, right? I showed you over here how Microsoft was going to hold these pre-market lows, pre-market low here, 409.10, and then you rotate through, hold that bottom, rotate up. If NVIDIA here can hold and break above 892, that's a nice little wick of that bottom. I did mention that down into this level, down into 880, is likely. If that cracks, it kind of wicked into there. Now it could rotate back above 892. NVIDIA is a monster on its own, so if it does get over 892, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets back over 900. There you go. Let's go. Jofi, good job. Great long there at 36. I like it. Like I said, I think up into 60, you get pretty much 60, 50 right here. That just got hit. I think that's where you run into a little bit of resistance, but I said if it breaks 50, probably runs right to there. There you go. Good job. Good job, Zuka-san. I like it. Like I said, I think that overnight low, I just didn't quite get to my area of interest, but the way that this started to give you that decline, this little setup here, where you're starting to push into key levels and you start to get this, it's almost like a descending wedge, if you call it that or whatever. But if you start to get this type of lack of pressure, blow off bottom, once you crack through this tight wedge pattern here, usually that's the indication for the reversal, especially when you pair it with a nice little delta candle just like that, right? That's a nice little delta pop, push up, gives you all the confidence in the world to be able to go and take it to the high side. If the Russell could break 2065, I will be interested in this getting through 75 and then rotating through. If I get wicked in, wicked out, that's okay. It is part of my plan at the key level, rotate to the highs. Then I want to see if I can get through overnight highs into previous day highs. That's really what I'm thinking. I think this is just a recovery of a lot of that overnight inventory, and then we could just power up through here. If you crack this wick, then that runs up. There you go, Jofi. Good job. That's why I like to play around my levels. I just didn't quite get to the spot where I could take my entry. But that was really, really good catch there, Jofi. You trading full minis on this? And you took 3 lots, 3 contracts here at 36, 3 contracts at 36. Oh. If NVIDIA can break back above 892, I think 900 comes into play. And that kind of helps us out here. If this holds above VWAP, 3 micros. Yeah, that works. That makes more sense. I'm going to say 3 lots down here at 36 is a big risk to the lows. Like I said, this is value area high. There's a breakdown point here at 75. 7250 is my key level for bullishness and bearishness. So we'll be over VWAP. Will be lots of reasons for me to get a breakthrough here, break up into 200, and then potentially down. Do I trust it to go pretty fast? I do. I think that the bullishness kind of comes in. Yeah, it would have been nice for sure. Microsoft breaking through, trying to get through highs. I think Microsoft goes up to 412. This will go to overnight highs, and we should be safe on this. You could probably be safe 36, 46, 56. Yeah, you should be safe below VWAP. Yeah, S&P is just taking out the highs, and NQ is still holding down a little bit. So I think a pop of 75 gives us a nice little run to the high side. Gives me a little bit of a momentum idea. Could this be a rejection point? Right? Break down, pull all the way back to that breakdown, reject, flush through 54, back down to lows. If we get back to lows, I'll look to go long off that overnight low again. If we can get through it, see what's going on with Delta. Delta's still kind of coming in here. Nothing diverging, nothing crazy here. I would like to get through this low volume area up into at least 196, 200 before I can make a decision. 196, 200 would be a nice little area for this to break out above this 75 and then up into that area right now would be nice. I'm going to go long through that 175 like I said. There we go. If it fails, then that's going to be that key line in the sand to watch. If we get up over 80, we're going to go right there. Good, break even. Let's see if we can get this thing to push now. It's a free trade for me. I'm looking to see if I can get up into that 196, like I said, up to 200. And then if we get up into that 200 area, I'll probably run my stop up a little bit higher into that. Actually, I want to see if this will go. I'm going to get it in there. That's a failed break. Cover my risk. I want to see this thing not fail break. I want to see some more volume, some more momentum coming through here. If we get stopped out, it's okay. I'm cool with it because I don't want to get run over to the downside if this is going to be a failed breakout, right? That's usually my go-to for a failed breakout. But if it's going to carry that momentum to the upside, 196 up to 200 is the idea. I'm quick with this stop with the money that I made this morning, right? Just like Jofi said, go candle by candle on it. And then if it gets up into that 996 to 200 area, I want to see that overnight high get tagged. I think we could get some real momentum come in here now that we're above this 72, above the 75. I want to see it go, though. I want to see it go pretty quickly. I kind of just don't want to look back at this level. That's why I'm waiting here. If it does stop me out, it did. So I took a small winner there on it. Break even, basically, we'll call it, $20. I don't like the way price acts when it does that. If it comes back down into the 60 level, then I'll take the same long. But NVIDIA looking to rotate down. Just that 72 acting as support there could rotate you higher. But the 80s end up as a high side area. So 75 to 85, that was a 10-point swing. Could have took it off and ran. But the way it was being strong, you're up 10 points, get to break even. And then if it can run up through the levels that you're considering, then go for it. But that's like a pretty straight up kind of move there that with that kind of wick gives me not as much hope that it's going to go. I'm a failed breakout trader, so failed breakouts to me are more likely than these actual breakouts. But I was trying to play that move, right? That's just how I want to work it. You can see that momentum just stopped. It died right there. So that's why I got out at break even. If it runs up now, then cool. But realistically, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, right? 10 points, really hard wick. Could have just maybe even trailed up even a bit more up into 80 once we popped up like that. But I just really wanted to see if that next candle would have pushed us up, which it didn't. So now we're getting that failed push back down below 72, giving you a better opportunity for a short on the high side. That was a nice little pullback. Still above VWAP, so can't take that execution right there. Waiting to see if VWAP will get back above it. Then you can start to look for shorts below that 75, but everything else is really still strong. Russell pushing up. S&P still over opening range. So, maybe we pull back, we break through 75, and we give that an opportunity. But that's my divergence strategy, right? So if we pull back, if we don't get good momentum, through that 75 level with Delta, then it could set up. It could set up for our divergence strategy. Good job, Jofi. I like it. 35 points from 36 to 90 to almost 200. Where'd you get out? 80? Nope. 35 points. Sorry, 70. That last position netted you $71, $70, $70.50 you got out. Nice. You can see that failure, right? I got in. We failed that opening range low. Now rotating back down. Could still be strong over VWAP. Everything else is still relatively strong. If NVIDIA can get back up over that 892, still strong. Microsoft still over 410. It wicked almost to the highs, but didn't quite get there, so watch it. If S&P tries to break the highs, once again, you could probably take that long through 75 for the momentum breakout. But close it up, Jofi. Good job on the day. I'm up 150, 149.40 on the day. Looking to catch this next breakout here above the 175 potentially on relative strength. That's a crack there. Breakdown. S&P's looking to break a little that lower high divergence strategy. Rotate down through 52.17 back to VWAP possibly if that failure comes in. If it continues to be strong and rotates through highs, then the NASDAQ should follow upside through that 75 level. Later, Jofi. I'll see you tomorrow. Yes, sir. Zuka-san talking. Good job. I think if S&P's breaks through highs, I think we could get this to go up to 2. Does this give us that opportunity? It'll be a tighter stop for me this time. Probably down below 68. Later, Zuka-san. Good job today. Good job, Jofi. Good job, everybody. NVIDIA holding through 192, 892. If it gets to 80, back to even again, like I said. There we go. It's at 80. If it's just going to go now, it's going to go now. If it shouldn't come back to our level, and we're flat. So we made $1 on that. I think this is going to be a divergence kind of strategy now that we're making a lower high there. Potentially the breakdown of this level now gives us the opportunity for the short idea, right? 2 times failing that 75 level. The relative strength of everything else doesn't quite matter because the delta divergence there, right? Lower high, extra lower high. If we could kind of start to break down through this low here, could really start to see that change. With the S&Ps broke through highs, but it's failing that high. NVIDIA creeping. I'm going to hold off around here. I think possible shorts through this trend line crack again, but that's not in my levels. It's still above VWAP, so it doesn't give me that confluence that I could take it. Yes, it could go. Yes, it probably does go based purely on delta pushing downside, price failing that level 2 times. I just can't do it above VWAP that tight, that close to VWAP. If VWAP would have creeped up a little bit more and would have been right in that area, then maybe we could have done that for me, for my strategy. I just don't trust it yet because I think that possible break could, obviously the break of the VWAP could come, but we're going to watch that overnight low if we do get to that area for that long position again. That's really what I'm looking for. So that's why I'm quick to trail my stop to even, right? Bang, got to 80, got to the idea of if 80 cracks, then 80 goes. 80 did not crack, so we took our trade break even, $5. I want to see this thing do a little dance around here. Maybe even pop up again up over that 72 level, although it probably won't because 72 wicked twice. 72.50 once, twice. Now you got heavy sellers on the time and sales. So bigger size getting filled on the time and sales. So that's a big sell. You can sell side. Tilt's heavy short, right? 75% short. That kind of keeps me away from it as well. That's a good move there off of that level if you are playing that level. Also, you can kind of see this trend line acting as resistance here. That was a really nice short through that 52.17, down a couple points. Could this now lead to our rotation through that overnight low, through that previous day low? Or is that going to be a liquidity grab down into previous day lows and then a rotation back through that overnight low for a long through that? So that's what I'm going to be looking for, pushing downside. I like everything about this. I liked everything about this short except for that it was just too close to VWAP, and VWAP was still acting as a support below it, right? I mean, it's an A setup. I just can't be justifying taking a short through there for my own strategy, right? Trying to be very, very patient, trying to give myself really good opportunities to just completely minimize my losses. I am on a nice little losing streak over the last few days, so to be up green today and just keeping that winning mindset in, build this back, get everything back to where we need to go, could be really what I want to be doing here. You know, another break above this 75, could that be the time that it goes? Like I said, S&P's over opening range. Russell up over the opening range. S&P, NASDAQ is diverged. It is either leading us downside or it's diverged and it's going to catch up at some point. We never got to our overnight low is what we needed to do. Maybe it pushes down. It gives us a hard flush, pulls some of these other names back down, and then they can now catch their bid from key levels, and then we'll catch our bid from that overnight low. That would be ideal. Russell trying to break high of the day. S&P still trying to crack this yellow line here, that high, that 52.17 that I had from a few days ago. Tilt was heavy shorts. That's why I didn't think that follow through was going to come right that second. Still up in the 70s. I think that's still a little heavy. We'll be on here till 11 today. If I make a great trade or something stupid, I'll get off maybe a little early because I do have to run and do some errands prior to going to work. But you'll know before I do, probably, if you see what's going on the screen, when I'll be getting off. But I will definitely be off by 11 because I got to make sure I get things done before going to work today. So we'll see. It's 9:17 a.m. here. Economic calendar wise, we don't have very much left today. We have natural gas, which doesn't affect me. The bill auctions at 10:30 may possibly move the market a little bit, but and the mortgage rates I don't think will affect anything except for people buying houses. Let's see what goes on here. We're in the middle of a range. We're in the middle of our major structure levels, so nothing to do for me right now. In Q1, yeah, we're at sort of how yesterday was, right? We're in yesterday's range, holding yesterday's lows. Well, not yesterday's lows, but yesterday. I mean, we are, but yesterday's lows are a little ways away. We're holding yesterday's like the bottom end of the chop that pretty much happened after that first hour of trading. We stayed within the range between 18.2 and 18.135, 138. So we're in that area right now. If you do crack below 138.50 and break and hold, could give you that push to the overnight low. A good confluence for a bounce at the overnight low would be the S&P's holding over VWAP. That would be my ideal. Like I said, if S&P's catches a bounce at VWAP, then potentially that gives us that hope. I think holding this lower band of VWAP also gives us that opportunity because that is I think we wick this down to 103, come back, gives our delta divergence strategy a go, and then we can look to go from there. Russell wicked the highs two times, and now rotating down. S&P, same deal, wick, liquidity grab, rotate down to 52.17. Starting to get something like that, right, where you're getting lower lows, but they're tightening up. The highs aren't quite higher. The bounces are, muted, and then you kind of look to see if you can get that one more flush before you start to get that push back to the high side. Microsoft did catch the bid from 409.86, and Nvidia is still creeping down, but has that support at 877 if we do creep even lower. Nothing doing yet. Like I said, chopping in the middle here. This idea for a short right there was a good one, except for that I could not execute it personally based on the VWAP being below me. Just so tight. If we were at the overnight high, yeah, that strategy, that setup is perfect, right? Same deal, but we're at an overnight high. We're a little bit pulled away from the VWAP. I could take that down here. I could do the same thing, and it's kind of what I'm looking for to happen. I want this very similar setup to happen down here below the overnight low, or even below this low, that 108, 110 level. If we can get that same type of setup here, sweep these lows twice, rotate back up to the higher end of the day. Yeah, that's kind of what I was looking for in the original opening range setup, but never quite got there. Once again, S&P's trying to creep up over 17. What's the YM doing? Oh, gosh, sorry. Oops. Dow went straight up. What do these tick charts look like? That was a tick chart. So this just only moves with ticks. I don't know what the tick charts really mean, to be honest with you. I wanted to just take a look and see what it looks like for. I know it moves by tick, but I don't really pay attention to it, to be honest. I use just the regular standard price charts, and I use my delta here, which is creeping upside now, right into VWAP. They didn't get that follow through that you were expecting here. Potentially, that relative strength and everything else does give you that thought process of the long through 75 working out at some point. If the S&Ps can roll upside, where is that next target upside for the S&Ps? It's right there. That's the idea for S&Ps. And then up to 5248, 5250 level. Considering this, Looking at the long over that 75 one more time, based on the way this just lack of follow through down here after getting a nice little setup like that. So Nvidia swept lows and now is creeping up. Microsoft's creeping up. S&P's was creeping up. We have Delta pushing higher. We have Russell breaking through highs. YM just straight up again. Overall, like I said, everything is sort of bullish. So if we do end up getting a good follow through a level, it's going to be through that 75 level. If it's going to be just a liquidity grab, we still will get to break even pretty quickly on it anyway. I do think since we're overview up, all that fun stuff should be able to kind of hold it and push. Willing to risk this one win on this break up through that key level of 75. Probably want to do it through 75 quarters. Nope. Let's see. Does it rotate through this level or does it hold? If it holds and rotates back down through VWAP, potentially, like I said, we're going to wait for that overnight low. I will like a break up over this 75 if it's going to continue on to make a new high up into that 90. So if I get 75 to 90, I'll start to be really quick with my trail. I think 96, I said, and 200 were key levels. NVIDIA is still pretty heavy. We got 3 minutes till this 30-minute closes. If this holds and closes, this 1 minute candle closes below VWAP here, I'm going to get rid of this order. It looks like it wants to. I'm just going to get rid of it for now. I don't want to be involved in that. Microsoft's still holding. If it goes and rips right now, then it's fine. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds. Give me that 3 minutes to go. I want to see if S&P's been leading us. So if S&P can lead us higher, then maybe we can get up over that. But overall, not looking at that right this second, right? You can see it wicked it once, twice. We do have this little overhead support here, trend line, but we are playing with VWAP. I think we really do have ability to break to 224 down into our lows. I would love to get a long if we could break through this low here, down off that overnight low, where you get through here. You can see that wedge forming, right? Longer term wedge. Yes, you wicked it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, wicking it. Wick this one once. Just kind of want to see what happens with this wedge. Do you break above it? Do you hold? Do you break down through 50, down through 35, and then into our overnight low? That's the question. We've been very muted, very rotational this whole week. So some of these other moves probably not going to work. I'm going to get rid of this, even though it's been kind of acting as some key levels. I just don't want it anymore. I like this one for a review purposes. However, we just haven't been getting to our overnight highs or lows to give us that opportunity for the shorts or longs, depending on the day where we're at. We got time and sales 928, 929. We got at 150 some sellers coming in at 150, bigger size, 20 lot, 14s, probably one large seller. 166 I mentioned was probably a magnet target max right there. That's that breakout point from that number this morning. Failed it once, twice. Did not make new highs. Delta creeping down well before price tried to creep up, right? Price tried to make a new high here at 66. Delta said, no, we're going to still push downside. So that heaviness on the short does seem more likely. Although if you get a pop, it's really just whatever hits, right? You can see larger size on the ask here. On the bid, we got a 20 lot down here. There's a 30 lot up there at 58. I still like this long through 75. If we hold 66, then that long comes in. I will play it, and I'll be quick with it like I've been doing the whole time. Yeah, I'll be limiting my risk below this candle here. If it does break out. If it doesn't break out, if this is a failed breakout, rotation to the lows, watch that. So this is kind of a decision point here at 9:30. We've been open for an hour. S&P's trying to creep up over. Hasn't quite creeped over the high here. If it can break over 21, then you may get some buyers pop in here. Should not look back if it does pop. Higher low, higher low, higher high. That's the Delta doing. Delta's congruent, acting pretty strong. Can we get a good break? Or are we going to get a failure? Willing to risk to 65. If it's going to failure on 75, then it is what it is. Goddamn. Not breaking through, not going. Get up over that 72. Get up over that 72. Come on now. Come on through that level. Get through that level. If it's not going to get through it, then it's going to fail here. What's our Delta doing? Delta's still strong, still okay. Keeping me in this. If I can get up over 75, I should be okay. Let's see. Do we get up over 75? I'm going to tighten this up to 125. I don't want to lose money on the day. I want to be able to capture this move if it's going to happen fast. And we got a short squeeze espresso, so maybe the short squeeze is in here. Yes. If it fails here, I'm going to be out for 125. If it gets over 172 and holds, it should go, but it's not going quick enough for me. Not going quick enough. Come on, go faster. Get up over 75. Get through it. Yeah, I'm going to get out. Get out, get out, get out. Get up there. Come on now. Now, that's heavy. Yep. So we're up green, $23 on the day so far. Tried that long a third time, didn't work. So looking like this rotation wants to happen to the downside. I'm still just not quite here yet on it. Maybe the breakout happens here. We reload on it one time, give it one more shot above 75. With NVIDIA, Microsoft, everything kind of relatively strong. Delta just running into a wall here. Is my timing off? Is that correct? Is there still a buy here over 75? Take one more shot at it here. You could see that possibly be the low. Risking to this low here. See if I can get up to 196, up to 200. Really want to get up to the overnight high as the goal. If I can get up to 80, we got to get to even. Up to 80 is that point of interest. There's 80. So going to be tight below this breakout candle. If it comes back and cancels out this breakout candle, then we're going to be out. I want to hold above 80. If we can hold above 80, then stop's going to go up to around that 80 spot, right? This is why I reloaded here. I thought that we kind of, the way the price action didn't fail quickly, kind of gave me the indication that we should break the high here. I'm going to get to even now because 80 seems like it wants to reject. And if it doesn't reject, then it should go. and go here quickly. There we go. Big move up. Come on now, get up to 96. Break the high of the day. Don't look back now. Don't look back. There we go. Pushing upside. Getting upside. Move. Getting back to what we lost there on that last trade. So we're up, still up 110. Can only make money on this trade unless we get crazy slippage, which I doubt. Right? I want to see if 80 will hold. And if we can get through the high of the day and continue on, then we should be good. Up to overnight highs. Then we'll be interested in shorts at overnight highs. That's where I like my shorts. I want to see this thing pop here. Give me a little bit higher, up to 90, please. If we get up to 90, I'll move my stop to 85, the bottom end of this candle. But I think we're going to possibly reject this level here. And then we'll probably get wicked out, and then it'll run. Oh, there was a nice little push, and then we're out. So we're up 130 on the day, back to kind of where we were at. We just took that first little paper cut here, stopped ourselves out, and then ran it up to kind of where we were interested in here at 180. I wanted to get just 10 points out of this. It's pretty much what we did, 74 to 80. I mean, just a little shy of 10 points. And there you go. There's that wick test. Now you're going to run up. So I was just a slight bit tight on it. Shit happens. I wanted to wait one more tick to get that thing upside, but it's all good. We are happy with that result. Still trying to work a green week. I think we can get this thing up to that overnight high there. 196 was that interesting level, up to 200. That breakout. I'll get rid of this. Obviously, I was talking about this here, breaking out, playing this breakout. I stopped myself quick because I wanted to cut my loser just in case. Didn't want to take a full loss on it. Re-entered above, and we got in, and we're up basically back to where we were. So we're not going to be playing around anymore until we get to our key levels. Overnight highs is right here. Now we could get some sort of divergence. There's that pop. Damn. Really cost ourselves a little bit of money based on one tick. I should have been below 80, and I was just over 80. I think I got bottom ticked on that stop, which is fine. Can't be mad at it. Looking for that little bit of a move. Really was only looking to get to 90 anyway for the most part, 90 to 200. Got to get over that overnight high for me to consider the shorts through that area. We're back above opening range high. 224 could come in. That was a really good long. Heavy long on the tilt. I want to see a delta divergence up here. Delta's still pushing highs. I would like to get short off of this overnight high, but I need to see a secondary push. I can't just do it on that first one candle. Yes, we play our levels, but we have to do it in a smart way. We can't just go hammering into these shorts because I have a very tight risk parameter, right? So 214. I have up to 224 where that overhead resistance is from here, right? That's where I see some of that liquidity being drawn in. Tilts back to only 59%. So that long from there to overnight high was really good. 180 to 210. Awesome. I'm glad you caught that, Ray. That was really good. I stopped myself out at 180, but it's okay. I like that wick off high there. Everything else is still relatively strong, right? I said that the S&P, I mean the NQ probably catches up with the relative strength. I think that we still get another push up here into the 224s before we get, you can see Delta still pushing pressure to the high side. We are right along that one standard deviation at VWAP. We're at the value, the opening range high. We're at the overnight high, but I need this pattern, right? Remember this pattern here? This tightening wedge, this price action just kind of continuing to grind. I want that, but I want it to tighten up. I want to make a new high here, get over the overnight high, and then fail it. Then I can limit my risk to the other end of whatever happens to that. That's really what I want to see. So I wanted to give it another push, another leg up, but then tighten up, right? Then give me that one last little bit where I could finally give that confidence to say, all right, this overnight high doesn't want to give up, right? You can see now Delta's slowing down. We're not giving big pops on Delta like we did here. Delta's diminishing, right? Less and less and less buyers coming in at these highs. Give me another push up, right? I really want to see something hold where we could hold it all the way up into that overnight high. But if it's going to just crack here, that's a little early for me. So talking through this gave you a nice opportunity there. I just trailed a little bit tight, like one tick too tight, but that's okay. The short now popping downside. I really want this popping back up one more time. Everything else is rejecting. Like Microsoft rejected 412. I just didn't get the Delta divergence that I wanted. It probably goes here immediately. Also, just based on that, it's range-bound trading. This whole week has been very rangy. Follow-through has been kind of shitty. I want to see this thing now get deeper, get up into that high. 224. That's it. I'm just going to stick to that plan. Get above this high again. Get up into that 217, 220 area. Then rotate back down. If we don't get that, we don't trade. We're up on the day. I don't have to trade anymore. If you could talk yourself out of trades. Talk yourself out of executing poor executions. These were good executions. Every single one of these, good. I mean, I stopped myself out quick here, but that's good. I'd rather stop myself out for a smaller loser so I could make that next entry when it's the real entry, right? Get myself out, cut my risk, limit my ability to just get drawn down, still be green on the day, look for that next entry, limit to the low of that swing. Then you could just kind of go, I really could have went here. And even if I went candle by candle, I'm out on that 81 anyway. That's pretty much what I did was candle by candle, even though I moved that just prior. If I stayed at this low, gave it the opportunity, once you wick this high and start to push down, another push down, that's another reason why that we think that possibly gives you that full rotation. So, that's why I do trail my stops there. But, if you caught that, really good on you. We are now watching to see if we get that good delta divergence here, which kind of doesn't look promising. It looks like it wants to go with price, but we'll see. If price can push up into that 224 area, that's my really interesting area, right? 224, 215 to 224. $236, 252 area. Yeah. I like that too. I like even 277. Obviously to upside. I think if we tag off previous day highs, I don't know if we can clear that. And then we had 266 as the previous day prior to that. And then 277 is our ultimate overhead. I say we get to 277 this week, but I think that was a stretch. I didn't think there was anything that was going to help us get to that level. That's what I'm saying. It's a stretch. It looks like the breakdown probably happens now because of me not getting it over my overnight high. This candle needed to get up and wick this high here. So maybe we creep down, maybe we pop up, and then we fail it off of that. But it doesn't seem like that's the case. S&P's giving up 52.26, giving up the low of that candle there. Usually S&Ps will kind of be a little bit smoother on their breaks. 236 to 252. Yeah. I like that range too, especially because that previous day high is right in the middle of that. I just don't think we're going to get there quite today. And if we do, it may just continue a bull run. I'm a little disappointed in that, not getting up over that that overnight high one more time, or this setup to just get up here a little bit further. I mean, just waiting for my confluences has been. I mean, you need to stay out. If you can't execute, you got to stay out. How does this hold? We do have down into here to hold. After having that, this week starting out in such a crappy way of just kind of hammering in and nothing playing out, just taking a small win into the next day, just building that momentum for me is possible. I took a shot at a sip of this short squeeze espresso and it made us break out. So maybe I'll just take another sip, get us back over that overnight high. Let's see. If you are a coffee drinker, Day Trading Coffee Go, for traders by traders. It is our company here. Long term, I am working on partnering with brokers, and we are. If you want to try my coffee, click the link. Use my code. My name is Policing Pips, so that'll get you 15% off. Since I'm the one that creates the discounts, I can give them however I feel. Use that; it'll get you 15% off any order that you want. We got shirts, we got mugs, we got fantastic freshly roasted coffee delivered straight to your door. It helps your trading because you don't have to leave the house to go get your Starbucks or whatever. You're spending $3 a change on a cup of coffee when you could spend a couple cents per cup with us. I like all different kinds. I'm a big dark roast drinker, espresso shots, all that stuff. So it looks like that espresso squeeze, short squeeze espresso, looking to push us up over that overnight high. Let's see. Although that doesn't help my short idea, right? You see this pattern here at the key level. I'm looking for that same move, except it was a little less clean, right? We have a little bit of up, a little bit of down, a little bit of up. Get that same thing in this zone here. Look to get the crack of the overnight high, to do something like this, get up over there, maybe hold it and then fail it and then rotate right back into 72. That's the ultimate idea there. But along with that, if we do break this high, I need to see the delta not do something like it did, right? So that's a very strong delta push, a pop up there. Means that there are buyers lingering around here on that trend line. They're in that area. There's somebody front running that buy at 190, so there's decent size. I keep seeing the time and sales popping with 12 lots, 16 lots, 10 lots, all buys, 67 lot at 200. So people are buying here up over that 200 level or around it, and it's pretty consistent on the time. So it's probably one large buyer here, 60, 20, 20. I mean, I would say somewhere in the up over 300 to 500 lot based on how many are here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10, 20, 30, 40. Yep, probably 500 plus lot size to the high side on that 200 lot and that 200 level. So that's something to be cautious of. I like this setup, but I want the wick to be up over here. I want it to be into that overnight high. 224. Oh, I forgot that I'm using that thing. Give me that. It's 9:50. I got 5 more minutes till I can't execute. I usually give myself the 5 minutes prior to the hourly close to not enter a trade. If I'm in a trade, I will manage it appropriately. However, I just can't execute within that 5 minutes of the hourly close just based on my rules. If we break through this trend line, then potentially I would look for the short also. It would be nice if that was touching, but it's not. I think we're more in this area here. I think we do get above this overnight high, but I think the delta is already relatively strong compared to, right? So we don't have that divergence that we really would like. What we need to see now with the delta is as price pushes up, these delta candles don't. They do what they're doing right now, right? So we continue to do this as price pushes up into that, 210, 212, 220 level. If we could get price up into here, 212, 215, 224, and delta stays, in this area below that 700, starts creeping down as price is creeping up. That's how you know sellers are trying to step in here in front of that price. So that looks good. I just need to get it up one more tick. And then the break of this overnight high could give you some buyers step in pretty hard. I want to see a long bias like 80% would be great. You can see now we're getting buyers stepping in, stepping in, stepping in. Need to see if this delta will continue to hold. Short of this high here at 203. I want to see it pop, and then I'll switch over to my execution screen. Right, I'm not in a rush. If it's going to go and fail, it's not going to do it like immediately. It will, but if I get to my levels that I'm interested in, so you can see delta is still trying to make these new highs, not ready to go to the downside yet. You need this bit as we approach this high. So if we approach this high now, then you break it, you get that really good strong delta like that. You get up into 224 and you start to chop around a bit. You're up over that VWAP second band there. This is what I look for. 73% tilty long side. I will go stop sell below this candle here, and I'll risk to the high. Gonna risk to the high on that. There's the delta push to the downside. Up to 215. Maybe we get one more wick of the 215 area. S&P is trying to hold this support. If S&Ps can crack this, it'll give us that added confidence that this should go. This is why I didn't take that short through the overnight high right there. I think we still have a little bit of upside left in it. I think if this tilt gets a little longer, it'd be nice. I think we could tighten that up now. I think if we get through that low, then we should be okay. Delta now pushing downside a bit while price is trying to tick up, so that's good. 224, right? I mentioned 224 as that area of interest to get up to, but I want to see if it can wick to 20 and give you a failed, like a really hard failure right there. Delta is still pushing, not quite, sitting right on top of that VWAP band at 215. Microsoft just popped into 412 into that zone, so I'd be interested to see if it rejects this zone. If it and Nvidia is still relatively weak compared to the other names, so possibly if you start to get some weakness here at the highs, then Nvidia continues to rotate down. But if it catches a bid at support and bounces up at over 892, this might rally, right? So you see in Delta pop up to 224. Yeah, so now we're in an area where I like the short idea, right? But you do see the Delta just continuing to go. We're not getting quite the setup that I like, right? That same one here. Now this is stronger, right? That's a very strong push. I'm looking for failed breakouts. I'm not looking for, immediate like crushes, right? So we're going to see if we can get through the overnight high. If this breakout fails through the overnight high, then it should continue downside. This is my ideal setup, so I'm going to go for it. It should go quickly if it's going to go. If it's not going to go, then I'm not going to be in this any very long. Get through that low. S&Ps is going now. If S&Ps could get through 52.26, then we should get this thing to flush. Let's see if we can run the sirens. If we run the sirens, do we get this thing to get to the downside? Let's go. Come on, baby. Let's run those sirens. Run it to the downside. Let's see if we can get this short through this support level here. I need to get through that low. I think another wick above here, we're out. So I want to tighten up to 130. I want to only risk what I have made for the day. I want to be still kind of very risk averse on a day like today, although I do think that this has a lot of downside potential if it goes, right? You can see we're pushing down on the tilt. If we could get through here, tilt's still long. That's good for us. If we can get through 200, even, we get to even. Come on, baby. Let's get it. I ran the sirens once. We'll turn that off just to, in case it's still running sound in your ears. I don't want to do that to you. It's holding that support. I don't like that it's holding right now, but I want to see this thing go heavy, heavy, quick, heavier. Come on now. Give me that delta push. So you see delta. That's opening range high is still holding. I don't want that opening range high to hold. I want the break. I want that break of that opening range high. Wants to pop that overnight high again. It's probably going to give you that volume push. We're going to get stopped out just above that. If it goes, that could be that last little wick. I usually would risk to the high here, but I am just being risk averse on a day like today, trying to get through this level, through this overnight high. I want to get through 200. It's got to get down through 200 for me to get to break even. That was a really good stop location. If it breaks through that level, it's probably ripping to the highs. So good stop location there. I think if we can get this candle to close below here, we are going to get short. It's 3. I have to manage this 3 minutes till the hourly close too. So that's another problem for me. I entered at the right time. I just, didn't quite break my rule there. I think I was just right on time on the breakdown. Can we get heavy here? Can we get heavy fast? That failure should give us the heavy fast mentality. There we go. Overnight high, respecting that overnight high. Respecting it. Give me that breakdown now. Come on now. I'm going to even tighten up even further. I'm not going to risk more than $80 on this. You see the risk to reward tightening and tightening and tightening. I think if we get over the overnight high again, we probably pop. So if we could get through the low here, we should be able to get to 200. If we get to 200, we can get the break even. And then we should be okay. Otherwise, we're still okay. I'm just fine risking just over this overnight high, just over this candle, because I think that if we do break the overnight high again, we probably pop to the high side, right? I think that the momentum is kind of getting strong. And it's building orders right here. It's building orders, building orders, building orders. And the S&Ps is not following through to the downside. So S&P is respecting this overnight high, this yellow line here, is kind of keeping me from getting through this overnight high to the downside, right? This is my level here, this 2011. I'm willing to risk this 80. If it fails the next time around, then I'll take the short again, right? But I think if we get through here, I'm stopped out there. I'm cool with that. I need to see this thing break down a little bit further before I get an entry into here. So we are okay with that. I'll take the short even further down now. I'll take one more shot at it if it gets through this level. Yes, I stopped myself out for a small loss, but it gives me the confidence that if it does break, it should go. Delta now flattening, now getting heavier. I want to get through this opening range down to the downside. Oh, wait. Come on, give me that one more minute. 10 seconds. You can see speeding up at the hourly close. Tighten this up. You can see that's why I got out where I did. I wanted to limit that risk, but now that we're getting the new hourly candle, I think if we get the rejection this time, it gives us that next little layer of confidence to break through this level. But if not, that strength still comes in. This is the setup that we look for. Everything happened exactly to what I was talking about, right? The up to 224, the failure of the overnight high. This time we're getting that divergence, I believe, right? Delta not playing to the highs, got right off that VWAP band. Could look for the failure this go around to be the confirmed failure. And then we could actually make some money today on this move. Let's see if it happens this time around. All right, I stopped myself out quick. I like to make sure I can mitigate my risk, stay tight. If I get into this, it should go fast, so I should be able to get out or even limit my risk, the same kind of risk parameters. But that's just, it depends on what happens here. We are getting strong bids. Delta divergence. Hopefully the delta stays down here. You start to see delta creep up. You got tweezers type push up there into the 224, into this upper band of VWAP. One standard deviation away from VWAP. Pressure pushing up, pressure pushing up. This is why we limit our risk, right? I talked through why I pulled my stops to the locations that I did. The initial one, I was up here. I pulled it immediately down to just above here because I started to get a follow through in my direction. Did not follow through. Held above that overnight high. And then now it's trying to push up. It could wick this high one more time, but you are getting this wedge kind of forming here now with this bit here. So if that goes, then the rest of it goes. We're at that VWAP. 224 wicked. There's the 224 wick. S&Ps makes new highs. Good risk management on my half there. This is my setup. Got to take it 10 out of 10 times. Mitigating my risk on it. Very happy with that. Fine with there. The rotation up to previous day highs could come in, right? That's 243. We'll watch for the same kind of setup there, and then we'll go. But if not, if we can get the failure from 224, 225 up into 230, get a very similar move. 73% long on the tilt. That's interesting. This is now kind of acting like this makes more sense. Something smells good. This is normally a very high probability setup where we're going to get that flush. So we are looking to see if we can get that reversal here on the wedge pattern break. Right? It probably acts all in confidence here. High of day, overnight high, we wicked that 224 level. We have this trend line that is wedging everything out. We have the ability to try and short that, still tilting to the high side. So people trying to get long, retail trying to get long, when there's a possibility that 224 here, that standard deviation of VWAP also acting as that overhead resistance, could give us the confidence that this time is when it goes. This time I will probably give it to 220 to give it that bit of breathing room to 220, and then I'll start to tighten it as it goes in my favor. You'll see how I manage it. Small loser on the last one. Give ourselves the opportunity to take advantage of the second attempt at the breakdown. You see S&Ps now breaking through that level, possibly giving us that opportunity for the NQ to break it. Microsoft popped up to 412.56, which gives me the idea that it might want to reject and sell off some down into 412 and below. If it doesn't, then it continues on through up to 414. Then the long is on for the NASDAQ. NVIDIA just broke above 892, trying to crack the high of its little an hour ago, about 9 o'clock. It had a high there at 894. Just patient. We're at our level. We have to execute our strategy around our level. It gives us that positive expectancies. It raises the probabilities quite a bit. Do we get Delta? Any help from Delta here? Flattening out in Delta. Not playing to the downside. Still ticking up, which is interesting. Let's see what happens at this high here. Once again, pushing up into the highs, up into 224. You can see that that's speeding up. Price is moving a little faster at these levels. Delta not popping. Waiting to pop. 224. If it does get through 224, then possible the pop comes in. A lot of these other names, a Russell is giving you that slowing down at the high end. S&Ps as well, I feel like doesn't have that same type of explosive upside move currently that the the NQ is currently trying to experience. Just broke through the high of 224, and the Delta is curling up as well, but not making new highs, but it's trying to get some buyers involved here. Looks like it's another continuation pop. There's another break with the Delta, right? Delta is pushing up strong. Price is not following through. So if we don't get followed through in price, I would anticipate something that there's a wall here of sellers at 224. Let's see what happens. Strong Delta, strong price. We are in, if you're on a long, the continuation idea is still okay. Just the way that we're wedging out here does give me the caution on the upside break. Nvidia just broke through that high from 9 o'clock, so potentially looking to rotate up into pre-market lows, which is 897. So until Nvidia gets to 897, maybe we continue to grind higher in the NQs. Microsoft still holding 412.56. I will flip to these screens here for you guys. There's the Microsoft screen. You can see that there. Let me make sure. Yeah, Microsoft 412.56. This box has acted as resistance and support for really long periods of time. So I've used it as a confluence level. You also see Nvidia now holding this 892, breaking that 9 o'clock high, rotating up, and you can see pre-market levels here, 897.15 up into 898 could be that overhead resistance for Nvidia if it's going to sell off at all. If not, if we continue to rotate higher, then the NQ probably just keeps going high side. I did mention it's a bullish idea. I tried that short. It's my go-to, right? You see that heavy sell side move. You can't not give it that shot that it's going to break down and go. It tried, and it just held that 200. There was a big buyer there at 200 prior. It's still there. Potentially still there. At some point, it'll give up. Previous day highs. In targets could look for the same type of setup at the previous day high, right? You can see Delta just continuing to push up. Now you're getting priced to, you have a Delta divergence a little bit. Now Delta pushing down, price pushing down. If you get the heaviness through that 224, possibly could be the level, right? 224 is here. Yeah, breakdown of 220 probably gives us that flush. Delta's now acting in our favor a bit. Since it's just a far away from my overnight level, I'm not front running. I could try and front run it, but I'm going to let it do its thing, get to my overnight high, and see if that's going to give me the true actual breakdown and get me down into that 190s, down into 172 is really what I want to see here. But yeah, you could be playing that front run of 224, risking to highs if you're aggressive. Yep. Absolutely. I think that area, that 36 to 52, does make a lot of sense. The 43 previous day high makes me interested in that level as well, but this 224 level has been super supportive, and now that it's acting as resistance, could be the flush point, right? So like I said, if you are aggressive, you are looking to front run, looking to take a cheap short, that 224 level obviously is working so far. You're already 4 points in the money on a 224 short. However, it's not giving you like a firm follow through currently quite yet. You want to see some volume start to step in here on the sell side, right? You want to see some delta really start to push in, but it's kind of just holding here. Usually, if you're going to get a break of a level like this, he's going to kind of come in pretty heavy pretty quickly, especially with the delta creeping down. But now you're getting the same type of deal, right? Pushing up, lower delta, pushed up, made a higher delta, trying to push price up, delta lagging a bit. So possibly you get a little bit of a pop here. If delta catches up, then you still can still see the continuation. If delta lingers down here, that may give you the indication that 224 is the top end of this move to the high side. Does that mean that my overnight high breakdown works? No, that doesn't mean that, but at least it gives the high of day idea here of 224, that area, that zone, right, to be the area of interest. But now you can see delta starting to creep up again. So buyers are trying to step in here. Over 224, they step in. Below 224, they kind of just linger down below. So it's very interesting that they don't. There you go, is that little hard, heavier push. If you break this low and delta kind of lingers up here, potentially could fail as well. So just be mindful of that. I would love to front run it. I just don't have the bullets in the gun for the front run. Shorting it from 224, just giving it the idea there for myself. My risk is going to be over 220, 215. The initial stop is going to be up here, but I'm going to try and get it to be mitigated pretty quickly. If we break through this overnight high, fail the overnight high, I want to see what happens with this yellow line here on the S&Ps, if it goes or not. Microsoft curling from 412.56 down to 412, just broke through 412. Your delta acting with some follow through there, so that's good. The caution level here is that 203, 204 level that we stopped at before, that 204. So I still will get in short through my overnight high, sticking to my game plan, my normal game plan here, risking my normal amount of risk here up into that 218, 220 area. If it continues down, it should break through overnight high and just start to induce selling based on stops getting run, all that fun stuff. But if it doesn't, if it just continues on to the upside, then we're just going to kind of stay away for the time being. Look at this price. Delta down, delta down, delta down. Price trying to tick up. Trying. Not getting any luck, not finding any buyers. NVIDIA held 892 and Microsoft held 412, so possibly continue to the high side. If they give it up, then maybe that gives us the indication that we're ready to go. Return, retrace, whatever you consider. So we did make crazy low. This was a great call for the long here. We talked about why we took the long there. This short idea could come in, and we could come into support somewhere, into this high here, 191. 224 is trying to pop, and you're still seeing delta down well below the lows. So that could give you that delta divergence idea here at 224 for the short. Everything else still creeping up, though. Russell's still creeping up. S&P's still creeping up. So not convinced quite yet. Still, I want to see this thing get up here, maybe into 230 again, and have this delta just not work and then fail 220. Maybe if we fail 220, I could creep my front run up there and then go to the overnight high, then go from there just based on my delta divergence. Let's do that. I'm going to do that. I'll limit my risk that way. Limit it to 24. If we get through 20, we should get to the overnight high, right? I'm in. If we get through the overnight high, we'll be at break even. And then from that overnight high, I'm going to watch it very carefully. Delta acting in our favor, right? Heavy delta, price is pushing downside. We are not really in any trouble with this. So hopefully, as long as it doesn't get back to 224, we should be okay. I want to see a flush, though. I want to see it to get heavier kind of quick. It's not really going. That level should have cracked and went pretty fast with the way the delta was going. Still okay. Still okay. 220 is that breakdown. It's just not following through heavy yet. So I'm going to go right to 220. So if we can get through this low down to the overnight low, there we go. Overnight high. I want to see the overnight high crack. I'm at break even. So if it goes, it goes. If not, then it's going to bounce from here and rip my face off. So I'd rather be at break even than catch a bounce and be stopped out for any sort of loss on it, right? If it doesn't go now, then it's fine. But it should be the indication of delta pushing downside, price breaking through a key level, held 224 a few times, got the divergence on delta, but the wick of this low tells me that maybe it grabs some more buyers to run us to the high side. What's up, AK? I'm in a short right now that I'm probably going to get stopped at break even on right there. What's up, big guy? I hope you had a good day. I'm up a huge $45 on the day. Did not get the follow through on that. I still want the breakdown of the overnight high. I front ran that entry for that opportunity, but I think realistically my actual entry is below this overnight high to flush down into that 172 area, but you are starting to build up buyers in this area, right? Didn't flush. You got a little wick off bottom and now you're trying to rotate back to 20. If you get 224 again, I mean, Delta's still pushing downside, so possibly Russell now finally curling some, so could be your indication. NVIDIA broke through 892.23, so to the sell side. I'll take my normal short through here and see if we can get that full move. I stopped myself at even. That's cool, but I really want to see if I can get through my overnight highs down to these other levels and take my normal risk and see what happens. I did my front run. Didn't trust the front run on it. So let's go with this. Very nice. Wow. I like. NVIDIA cracking that level. I think if NVIDIA can get to selling, then we can get to selling, right? But that overnight high acting as support. And you got a big buyer here. Delta creeping up. If this cracks, we'll see what happens. AK, I'm sure you just crushed it this morning on some shorts pre-market. I'm sure you did another good pre-market short day. Just no follow through on this short idea right now, but I do see a little bit of an lack of follow through to the upside. If we do crack this, you get to previous day high, you get to Leesy's area, right between that 53 and 36, right up to that previous day high. Watch what happens at previous day highs and go. If you do like that short idea, just watch for the same sort of setup. Watch for that delta to lack follow through. Wow, just over 1K. Just consistency, though. That's what it is. Just consistency. Day in and day out, just making that 1K a day. we have been in a we've been in a slump the last couple days, and I've drawn down a bit. But today, I caught a pre-market move on that job number, and then I gave it back, and then I got some. So this market's in upward trajectory mode. I caught this move here, then I just kind of didn't get a chance to fade that. Took the breakout on that one, got stopped out at 81. Full rotation there. I think we do get the love it. Love it, love it, love it. 224 acting as that guy. Do the same front run. 1850. Wick to that upper band of VWAP. 224 key level. Magnet down into the value area here, down below at 192. That's really that first real target if it does want to give this up at some point. Russell is starting to curl down. Russell's been leading us up for most of the day. Also, the Dow is leading us up as well. I'm not sure what the Dow is doing currently. YM. Dow now creeping down, right? Dow is absolutely ripping, and now it's just flattening out. It is bull flagging or whatever you would consider, but I don't know if the Dow has enough juice in the tank to give you that next big leg up. So if it does give up this level, potentially start to roll back to VWAP, then that could drag the rest of the market down with it. I'm going to leave the S&Ps up here. The failure of this 224 level to me does give me hope that it does want to go at some point through my little 220 failure point, get back to that overnight high, crack the overnight high, and rotate back down into VWAP. And like I said, first area of interest would be like this consolidation level at 190, and then into 172 is that purple zone. That's an interesting level for me. It's been the interesting level all week, and I think realistically we should be able to magnet and come back into that level. Not trying to pick highs, but I do like this 224 level to act in that fashion, right? Tried to push highs, didn't push it. Right here you got highs, you pop through that yellow line. Here you're trying to pop up into that VWAP area. You're not getting the delta follow through. You're not getting the same buyers you got up here before. So we're just kind of looking to see if some of those buyers disappear, turn themselves into sellers, and then rotate us back to that, at least to that overnight high, and then we'll start to trail from there. If we get through that 220, risking to that 224. So if we get filled at 218.50, should get a heavy flush. We are filled. Risk to the 224.50. I'm not risking a ton on these. I'll give it a little bit of breathing room over those wicks, and then I want to see it flush down into the VWAP area, right? I throw a target out there. It's just ancillary. I usually just run my target away, and I trail my stop. Hopefully we can get through this overnight high without much issue this time. If we can get through the overnight high this time, we should be safe to allow this thing to get down to 192. But be cautious because of the way price has been acting all week, right? Delta, I need Delta to act in my favor a little bit more. I will get the break even if we get to that overnight high, because you can see it is a bounce point, and I don't want to lose money on a trade that's just going to continue to range through this day. So I will get to just past break even now, because I expect the flush to come in heavy right here, right now. If this gets through the overnight high, if I had more bullets in the gun, if I haven't been in drawdown this week, I probably would have added through the overnight high, because I did front run my overnight high entry. And if we stop out here, we stop out here at even. Right here at even. Sorry about there's heaviness to it, right? You can see the heaviness. I'm going to stay above that candle, just in case I get some slippage for the break even. Stopped out. You can see now that the wick test rotate back higher. S&P is giving it a higher. That's why I take my stops quick on these moves, because the way the NQ moves, you got to kind of just be one with that instrument, right? I think if the overnight high goes, it will go, but I've been trying to front run it a little bit, and that's usually not my game. I usually wait for my key levels to break and the breaks usually happen fast. So if I have my 210 crack, we should get a heavy sell. But right now it seems like it's holding. We just made a little bit of a higher low. If we potentially get back above 224, look for the rotation up to 243, that previous day high, and then 243 up to 266 is that interesting area. Microsoft bid up just over that 412 level. Again, NVIDIA's just kind of basing out on top of 892.23, that key level that I've had drawn up for some time now, right? NVIDIA likes this level a lot. It breaks down from it. It works this level quite a bit. And this is a longer term level. I've had it up here for a while. I do think that if it does catch a bid up into that 897.50, 898 level for that pre-market low, possibly comes in to get tagged, right? And then you got Microsoft above trying to push through that high. If it pushes through 56, then bullishness continues on in the markets, I think, up into 413, 413.12, and then up into 414.92 if it just continues to get some momentum in the day. So just kind of watch those levels. I'm going to go run, take a piss real quick. If I get triggered in, then I should be safe to be fine right there. So give me a second. 224, just lingering around that 224. All right, look at you. You're a money-making machine there, AK. I love it. I love it. We're out here just giving it head out to break and then lunchtime commentary. As always, if you are in this room and you find that after 11 o'clock I get off the stream, head over to AK's room and learn a little bit about everything, because this guy makes the money every day, day in and day out. You should be definitely finding out what he's doing, because it's the right thing. Just every little day, you get a little tidbit of information. I've always used these VWAP bands just because of the Quant Tower having that option, and I just left it there. And then I saw your little class on how you use your VWAP bands, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna leave them there, and I'm gonna start using them a little bit more as far as my analysis are concerned. So we're kind of running into that VWAP band now. If this is the ultimate high, we do have a good delta push. Bands that make a dance, baby. Bands that make a dance. What? Bands that make a dance. I think if we break through here, we go up into that previous day high. Russell is now creeping down again. You may get this being that divergence setup, but you are getting higher highs on the delta. So new buyers are stepping in at this level, which is interesting to me. Once again, that 224 level, if you get a failed breakout, as always, Zoltan. There's a nice pop above the high there. What kind of delta did you get? Really nice heavy delta pop there, right? You can see when the price pops, delta pops. If you're going to get a possible continuation, you want to see that delta hold up there. If you don't want to see that thing start to creep down. So if you are interested in continuation type play today, that's an indication that it should continue, at least for the time being. You should be safe, especially because NVIDIA held at 892.23. VWAP band holding. I think if you crack through 224, once again, I think my 220 level front run here, this little guy here, the 218.50, I'm going to short it again. I mean, I've been even on it. You got the bounce, even higher low. This technically probably rolls up to that previous day high. This is another level that I'm interested in, the same type of setup. If we get the same type of setup, I would be interested in that short. Here come the wicks, baby. Here come the wicks, Leezy. Here's your levels at 36. If we creep up into that, up over that 43, that 50, let's watch for that delta divergence. Let's see if we can get that short opportunity there, or if it's just going to continue on, as I mentioned, up into that purple zone. That 277 level is that pretty important level. So we are here at 10:30 a.m. I got 30 more minutes left in the stream. I will not be going past 11 today. Got to get some things done. That 36 level is what interested Leezy earlier. Right on top of that VWAP band. High volume node here at 230. See if we flush that level and rotate down. Russell is starting to creep us downside, so could lead to some selling up there over that level. That is a nice short from that 36, Leezy. So that was not a bad call on that level. What kind of bills did we get? Today is Thursday. The bill auction came out at... Still waiting on those. 5.2, 5.27 is what we're looking for. So you just immediately short. You had a limit out at 36. See if we can reject this. I think we should be able to get that little bit of a downside move here. There's the divergence, right? Wick off high on that band. If you get through that 24 level, that flush probably continues on. So, yeah, I don't have any EMAs, so I don't know where they're at, but I'm going to guess that they're pretty tight up in here. We got some latency. That means price is kind of speeding up here a bit. Could be looking to see if the bill auctions were a little lower, a little higher on the 8-week. All right, so... See that big wick there, a push up, trying to push up again, not playing along, right on that VWAP band. See if 36 comes in. One more time. 24 needs to crack. It was a nice support level. Microsoft breaking through that zone. Hopefully it's a wick. Tilt's not very heavy long. People are still indecisive about which way they want price to go. Very nice. Very nice. I'm looking to see if I can catch this short through the 20 level. That would be the ideal. I think ideal would be if I could really pull off the 224 flush. I don't know if I want to front run it that high up. I like that. I've had that level drawn up for a little bit. Maybe a crack down below it gives you a big pop down. Or if it's just going to continue to hold, then we're going to continue to hold. All right. Let's do it, Leezy. Let's do it, Leezy. Let's get that flush at 224. Getting a little data latency in my end here. Hopefully it doesn't affect my trade. My internet acting like a fool. Not the time for it. Not the time for it, internet. Kind of just lingering up here. Let's see what this looks like here. Flattening out of Delta, flattening out. Price trying to move up, not really getting any sort of bid on that. I mean, just not a lot of things going on, right? Just kind of hanging around here. Just like, I like it. I like the idea on the strategy. I want to see 224 flush, and I want to see a nice heavy Delta pressure to give us that, at least down into that overnight high. That would be a nice little pop, and then we could get another flush through. Hopefully, if we could crack the overnight high down into that 72, do I get that full trail? That's the question, if I'm going to get this move or not. You can see that price didn't do what I wanted to do, but this one may go here. Yeah, it's possible around this time of day. A good hard break to the downside. Also with the Delta kind of just lingering around here. You're starting to get heaviness in the Delta. Price is lingering here. If you get a big flush, the Delta is going to act and help you out. And hopefully if you flush 224, that flush leads you to a straight flush to the overnight high. And then obviously you're going to kind of want to just pop. See if that stop will allow you to never really take any heat on the trade. That's the goal. 50-50 on the tilt. So retail's indecisive at this spot. Nvidia is starting to pull back. Microsoft still holding that high at 412.65 over yesterday's highs. I would like it to give up 412.24. There's a breakdown. 227. Does 224 flush? If 224 flushes, I'm going to risk at 32 and then see if I can get any further. Yeah, Delta's great. I mean, I really like the thought process behind seeing if buyers and sellers are fighting and who's winning the battle at that moment in time. Really, that's all it is. This is likely my last trade idea on the day. So if it does go, hopefully it goes very quickly and we can make a bit of money and then be done and out for the day. I would like this to get to the overnight high. If we could crack through 20, should give us a nice hard flush. And then I'll get to break even. Then we just see where it ends up. S&P is looking like it wants to go. Nvidia looking like it wants to go. Get through that 20 level. I would love to add through that overnight high, but I don't have the bullets in the gun for it. And the way the price action has been acting, I'm not taking that chance. So hopefully we can get to that overnight high. That'll be the most ideal situation. 224. You can see Delta acting very strong in our favor. That's the idea. Hopefully down to 204 we can at least get to, and then have to make a decision around 204 of what we want to do, right? So if we could flush through here, get through this area, get down into that overnight high, we should be at least able to secure $100 if we get to that overnight high, right? Because I think we can get our stops to even here. We're up 1-to-1. So let's just give it down to that overnight high. See if that flush will come in. Using that Delta to our advantage, right? Delta is still very heavy, still acting in our favor. 204 is that value rate high. I think if we can get through overnight highs, we've run our stops right to overnight highs. If we're not going to get the follow through, then it's okay, right? Then we're out, right? Then we're out for even. It's a risk-free trade for me at 1-to-1. If I caught that move, it didn't, right? If it's out, now we're out. I'm okay if it goes my direction. I'm okay if it doesn't. But realistically, I'm just limiting my downside on a very strong relative market, right? With that kind of Delta, I would have expected the follow through to happen a lot faster, a lot heavier. This is where I would get for my overnight high to break down. Excuse me. Excuse me. I'm sorry about the sneeze. I do like this breakdown. Sneeze. Sorry. Heavy Delta still. My concern is that level there, that longer term level. Maybe that's it. Right there. That's what it is. 224. I'm taking very small shots on a day where I'm trying to keep myself over that green mark for the day, include myself. I got 15 more minutes left in the stream. Hopefully we can get a flush of this overnight high and then see where we end up. That's a heavy delta. We're breaking that level there. I think we can crack through now, get through my overnight high. Should have been still in on that, but we did get ourselves out at break even. But we're willing to re-enter our normal original trade idea. If it's going to bounce from here, then so be it. But I like the flush. Delta now acting stronger. Price trying to hold that level. Oop. Flush that overnight low. Now catching some more momentum. Hopefully we could get through this level one more time. Get down through that overnight high and give us a really nice heavy flush. Although S&P is trying to hold that 52.27 level. Come on down. Get heavy fast here. Get through my overnight high again. I'm going to limit my risk to 200. Going to get through the flush here. Get down through 200. If we can get to 200, then we get even. Actually, 204, right? I said 204 was the level that I wanted to be interested in. Sorry about that. Still just trying to kind of limit my risk on these bad boys. 215. If it doesn't go here, then it probably pops off, and I don't want to be in on the pop. I'm into fast moves, things happening right away. Delta acting in my favor. It is, but it's just not getting to that overnight high. I mean, that opening range high. It's holding this overnight high very strong. Come on, get through my overnight high. Give me my normal failures that I normally get. Waiting. Break. Now's the time you break. You make a new low here below this candle. I'll go to even because I don't want to risk much on this since it's not acting quickly. I will go right over this candle because a pop over that is going to give me a pop. Delta's acting quite good for our trade, but it's not following through price-wise, right? We're getting sellers to come in, but price is not following through. I want to get down to this red line here, this opening range high, and then go from there, but it just doesn't want to go. Come on, get heavy quick. You can see it's just grabbing liquidity there, I'm okay with getting stopped out for $55. Quick little risk to reward there. Very tight, right? You can see how it's tightening up. It should just go. It didn't. We're going to risk just to the overnight high, giving back only a little bit of what we have gained on the day. If it gets me out, it gets me out. But if it flushes, it should flush now. I'm super tight on that stop. If it's going to wick me out, like I said, it's going to wick me out and it's going to probably pop to the high side. So I'm willing to risk just this little bit here over this high. I'm going to stop out there, be done for the day on that candle because it's just not giving me the follow through that I want through my levels. Yes, we got that good short there. It was nice. We caught a little piece of that. We just gave back $30 on it. Just don't see that good follow through that I want to see from my overnight high. I do have, like I said, 15 more minutes. Could we catch one more good move? If it pops up over 220 and then tries to flush it again, maybe we'll short that. But I just don't think that we have the heaviness to come in quite yet. It's just maybe they'll go now. 227's going for the F and Q. There's the great flush. So I just didn't trust myself. I think being in drawdown really gives me a tightening of my my ideas, because look, this delta is still strong in our direction. There was no reason to get out of it quite yet. 204 probably gets tagged here. Russell is pushing upside. S&P is pushing downside. There's the heaviness. There's down to 200. So overall, this first entry up there from 224 down to 200, that's 24 points. That's a good little catch. If you would have kept this in, right, down to 200, that's a nice little short. So it worked, but it didn't, because I didn't trail it good enough. But you could see it working out, right? Wedge, 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 flush. Flushed our level, breakdown again, right? Breakdown, breakdown, breakdown. The levels work. I just traded tight today. I think that, like I said, I think being in the drawdown is not letting me let my trades work out, and it's kind of making me trade a little tight, trying to be a bit more risk averse than normal. I am normally this tight, but not as tight. I'll usually give that to like that 220 to let it breathe a little bit, but I didn't see the follow through coming. You did, absolutely, pretty much to the tick. It did make it to 237, but I'll give you that. I'll give you that call at the high there to 236. You can see this trend line crack beautifully. Down at the VWAP probably comes in. This is the value area high right here at the 200 level. Value area high to value area low rotations do happen pretty frequently. So if it does accept back into value, watch out for that. Based on the way the price action's been going these days, I've just kind of been not getting my follow through that I want to get on some of these moves. Can we get back up to 224 and then fail this overnight high again? Maybe I get the short that time. That'd be nice. This is the NQ M4. I don't know if there's a difference. NASDAQ on Top Step X, it doesn't give me the opportunity to change that. It just gives me the front contract. I think it auto rolls and whatnot. On Quant Tower, price is pretty much, I think you're just slightly delayed, potentially. I mean, every stream is probably a second or two behind. So if I don't know how far off on price. What's your price right now on the M4? It should be like 204 right now, right? 203, 204. This is my Quant Tower platform, so it's a little bit different. There's a failed follow through from that overnight break. So at least you got that pop. $10 till the stream is done. I'm up on the day, a solid $37. I've been just kind of taking little chops here and there. Base hit, chop, base hit, chop. The ideas are all there, right? Everything that we've called out has pretty much been pretty good, except, right here we had a little bit more strength that built in, finally broke. That break there was the key level up there, that 36 level that Leezy was talking about. 36 down into now 200. Now below 200 is pretty important as far as where we're going to continue on or not. I like that level a lot. Nvidia gave up. Microsoft gave up. Like a lot of the short idea, everything is there. I mean, it's all relative. That's good. I like that short. That's a beautiful, beautiful chart. 18,192. I'm at 18,190, 190. Yeah, we're at the same 18,190. Yeah, we're at the same spots. I think it's just slightly delayed because it's a stream. It's not like to the second. You're not going to get it exactly at the second. The latency is as slow as it could possibly be. I could refresh it, see if it's going to help that out a little bit. Hit the live button also on that little stream, see if it helps. I think it's slightly a delay because it's really pretty much, I'm at 190 right now, 195, 196, 196, 195, 195 quarter. That's unfortunate that I tagged myself out on that like a little pussy. Overall, I traded okay today. Called out good levels. We executed on the levels. I didn't allow some of these trades to get some, breathing. But also here, you got it. Break even. This is the one where I really should have held a little bit longer. Down through 24, down into letting this overnight high break. Nothing told me to get out. Delta acted in our direction. We did get a little bit of a bounce in Delta when we got to here. But it gave up. So it's hard to kind of bounce back and forth from screens. That's one thing. But overall, like I said, it's just waiting, letting your levels play out. I got tight on these stops because this overnight high is bounce, threatening to bounce. I'm not trying to lose much more, go red on the day. To stay green on the day is a step in the right direction for the rest of the week, where we were red Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Realistically, we executed our plan appropriately. We just started to get a little bit revengeful yet on Tuesday. But today, everything we did according to plan. The levels are on point. The delta is on point. Everything is right there. Just got to get a couple more good little runners on where we get some good follow through and make some good money. And then we'll be back in business. No, you're good. That's not interruption. It's what it's all about. I have nothing going on, right? I'm trying to kind of keep myself out here. I got to run to the store with the wife in a couple minutes before I head to work. If anybody's got any questions, comments, concerns, let me know now, because probably going to be done for the day here on this account. Overall, it's another step in the right direction. Yesterday, we had a smaller losing day. Today, we have a slight green day. Tomorrow, we could bounce back and have a nice, bigger green day and work from there, just kind of shutting it down. I might give it one more shot if it gets over this overnight high, but I don't think it does. I think we kind of just grind down now into that 172, into that VWAP. It's pretty much that magnet target there. Overall, like I said, every day on here from 8:30 a.m. until 11 a.m. Central Time. Just kind of grindy price action all week. It's been not as easy to trade. For our levels have worked, but they take a lot more time to work lately. Overall, like I said, there's some confluence here. Breakdown. Finally broke that level. Could easily have held down into 72 if I had the patience. If I haven't been on a losing streak, I think that does add to the mental capacity. I think anybody who tells you otherwise hasn't been on a losing streak of late. Like I said, overall, if I could end green at all, it's a step in the right direction towards that next day. I really would have liked to have held that short through that overnight high, as it is my strategy. It is my ability to make some money there. I called this long here. We stopped ourselves out just a tick, right? We called a long through 72. We got stopped out by a tick, and then it ran right to our overnight highs. Once we got to here, we got that great setup, and then that just failed. So then we waited for the next setup, kind of just didn't follow through until finally getting up to that 36 level that Lizzie called out there. Overall, everything kind of lined up pretty good for this short through the overnight high. I took it on the first break. Probably should have waited one more break of it, but it was getting heavy quick, and I like to get into those fast moves. Once it doesn't move fast, cut it and move on. Probably should have re-entered below that 205, even below these wicks here. Could have re-entered on that next push down and then been just fine. but I'm not trying to FOMO today, trying to let this thing breathe out, let myself get back into a winning streak and go from there. But obviously, levels are working. Delta is working. Everything is good. So if you're in a short, I don't see why you need to get out quite yet. This 175 level was the breakout point before. It was the breakout point this morning, and it was the rejection point. So probably hit off on that 175, and then just watch out for the VWAP bounce. Watch out for some of those things there. And from here, I will shut it down, be green on the day. Small green is better than a loss on the day. Overall, we were up a little, down a little as far as from our high of the day of $130, $150, whatever we were up. I was willing to risk those plays to catch our real moves, which are these, but they're just too grindy. They're not my type of normal trades, although they do work out well. Wanted to see this into the overnight low, didn't quite get it. So that was the long opportunity right there. I know some people caught that long and bounced, right? This long through this level up into 72. Yeah, I expect some chop the rest of the day. If it sells off, it sells off. So be it. But done out for the day. 3 more minutes left in the stream. I'll hang around. If anybody's got any questions, comments, concerns, as always, if you're in YouTube, head over to TradeCaster. Sign up for that 7-day free trial. We're always in here, always having good conversation. You start to see the levels. You start to see people throwing in their thought processes on what we're seeing. If I would have just trusted some of these moves, we would have been even bigger and better for the day. But just a step in the right direction, keeping ourselves green is where it's all about. Just keeping that mental capacity for tomorrow and building on it and building on it and building on it. Just working on holds at this point. We did get a lot of confluence from Microsoft and NVIDIA. They gave you that. What I was talking about before, you see Microsoft got up into the high end of that box and started to rotate back down through 412. NVIDIA failed this 892 level. Once that failed right there, we should have been fine at 1045 to continue our short to the downside. So that was that help in the flush. So watch this bounce at 72. It's been a support level. It may have some distance to go between because S&Ps didn't quite get to VWAP yet, but just watch that for a bounce area. All right. 2 minutes till we are done with the day. Overall, like I said, I appreciate everybody coming by day in, day out, checking the journey, learning a bit from each other. That's what this is all about. I like this level as maybe a point where it's just choppy, but it could still flush through it based on just the heaviness of the market from those highs. You had people building into shorts all the way up. Finally, when 224 gave up, now you're rotating right back into levels. So the levels work. Level to level, take your price, let it go, let it do its thing. If you have the capital and the lack of a losing streak on your side, right? Trying to get yourself back into the green for the day, for the week, working that process. $37 might not seem like a lot, but it does feel like we're stepping into the next day, making progress, right? Yesterday we took a couple small losers. Today ended up just up a little bit. Tomorrow could be up bigger. Then just start building on that momentum. Really, that's what it's all about. Build your momentum, work on it, and then you'll be just fine. I started the day up like 130, to get back $100 on a few decent trade ideas. I'm okay with that, especially the way we were able to limit our losses on the losers was way better than, we didn't manage our winners good, but we managed our losses very well. So overall, I'm proud of that. Take some positives out of the day. It is 11 o'clock. Got to run some errands before going to work. I appreciate everybody stopping by. Leezy, good calls on the levels. I know Zuka-san made money. I know Jofi made money. I know there's a lot of people in here that don't talk but do follow a lot of the wins. I know Ray made some money today, so that's all good. Everybody out there doing a good job. So stick around. We'll build this community bigger and better. As always, tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. Central Time. I'll see you guys all then. Deuces.